27th pick, Wally. That was acquired in the trade of Marcus Morris to the Clippers. You never know what can happen late in these rounds. We've seen Jimmy Butler over the years, late first-round pick, become a star. We've seen sometimes second-round picks become a star. So the point is at 27th, you can still get someone that can make an impact. Who do you like at that spot?
Guy I just really liked the second I laid eyes on him. He played up at Washington, and Isaiah Stewart. This is a big man he's really physically built, strong, especially at his age. He really runs well. He plays hard. And that's what Tom Thibodeau loves. Guys that are going to play hard. They're going to be relentless on the boards. They're going to run the floor hard. They're going to flatten the defense. He makes his free throws. He's skilled. He was projected he was projected a lot higher at the beginning of the college basketball season. Then Washington really struggled come Pac-12 play, and his stock really slipped. You know, he's not an ideal height because he's only about 6'8", 6'9", so he's not like a 7-footer, and he's not a really great outside shooter yet, but he makes free throws. So when you make free throws and he has a good feel around the basket, you could think maybe that'll translate into being able to, you know, stretch it out to the three-point line and knock down three-point shots and outside jump shots in the NBA. But I just love his spirit, the way he plays. He plays hard. He plays active. And for a big man like that, with the body that he has, he's going to continue to mature. And if he's there at 27, he's my guy for the Knicks.
Yeah, I mean, he's talking about the toughness aspect, too, the way he plays. I mean, you think Tom Thibodeau would love a guy like that. And he just told the story earlier this week, talking with the media in New York, that he always wore 33 coming up in his playing career for Patrick Ewing. So there's that connection certainly right there, which is pretty cool. So there's another way to look at this too. Let's say at 8, which we've already talked about, we're both talking about guard play, but let's say they go with, you know, Patrick Williams or a wing type play. Let's say they go there at 8, you still want to find a point guard. Tyrell Terry is a pretty good pickup if you think about it. Where he is right now, he's a name that has shot up the boards over the last couple of weeks. This long period of time from when they last played, remember, blowing through June where you normally have this draft, now into November, some of these guys have grown physically, have gotten taller, have gotten stronger. Their games have changed. They've had a lot more time to improve. And so when you watch their workouts progress, some names suddenly go from this guy's more of a second-round pick or maybe not even a draft pick to now this guy is somebody you really are keeping your eye on. And that's a name that a lot of people have talked about out of Stanford. Malachi Flynn's another one I think would fit great with the Tom Thibodeau type of player because of the toughness, the two-way play ability. And I know he's an older player, but I don't mind taking an older player later on in the first round. But I'm with you, though. I do think Stewart's a name to keep an eye on there at 27. If they go guard at 8, you want to try to maybe find a big man. He checks a lot of the boxes when you consider Tom Thibodeau and the type of coach he's going to be.
You know, Wally, Allen just touched on it. This is such a unique year. Obviously, when you were picked back in 99, June is the draft. You have a lot of time to ramp up. You had the summer. You got training camp in late September. For these guys who are picked tomorrow night, they have to be at training camp on December the 1st. What's that going to be like for them?
Oh, well, they're going to go straight from their draft to the city, and they're going to start practicing before training camp and getting to know the coaches and getting to know, hopefully, their teammates who are all coming into training camp early also. That's what it's all about. I mean, I remember I used to get, you know, training camp used to start right around October 1st, and everyone on the Timberwolves, everyone on the Cavs, we would all get to the training facility at least by mid-September. So you had 2 weeks there, and this is including the veterans. The rookies were there a month before training camp started, just to kind of start getting pickup games going, just to get a feel for some stuff, just to start putting in a few sprinkles of the offense in some plays. So I anticipate when you get drafted on Wednesday, you're going to be on a plane going to do your interviews, and you're going to be starting to get settled in your city and starting to get comfortable and ready for training camp, because it is full speed ahead come December 1st. It's a shortened training camp, and the season is just around the corner, and I can't wait.
Out of the frying pan into the fire, right, Wally? I mean, that's really what it is. You go from draft night where you're just sweating just to see where you're going to get picked to, all right, now go to my city, find a place to live, and we got camp coming up. Oh, I got Thanksgiving, and then camp coming up in a couple of weeks, and then, you know, here you go, preseason game. Go ahead, kid, learn how to swim. I mean, that's just how this is going to be. But how about the way this process has stretched out? I've heard about where teams and coaches are not only watching a lot of film because they can, you got all this extra time to watch more and more film, not just workouts, but you go back and you watch some game tape from last year. And not only are they watching X's and O's, basketball ability, IQ, all those little things you'd watch, they're bringing in their like physio team and they're saying, watch the way he runs. Is there something about the way he runs that might lead to a long-term injury down the stretch? The way he jumps, the way he lands, does he brace himself properly? If he doesn't, could that lead to a long-term injury? You have so much time to put into these players because of the length between when they last played to when you're drafting them, that it's getting to that point now where you're literally watching everything about them to learn as much as you can. So this draft has been the most intense because it's the most homework you can do on a player. So you would think that a lot of teams, when they make their pick, they're going to be pretty comfortable with the kid that they take.
But the evaluation process, Alan, probably doesn't have the same amount of game tape that you would in years past. So the question is, how does that impact things? You can have them working out or whatever, but you don't have the game sample that you would.
Absolutely. And here's a perfect name. Wally, you know this guy because you and I both love shooters. Aaron Nesmith of Vanderbilt played 14 games. He didn't play since January. He hurt his foot and that was it. But in 14 games, he shot 52% from three on 8 attempts per game. That's a small sample size, but that's pretty damn good. But yet you haven't seen a lot of games of him playing at that level. The year before he played less minutes. He did shoot the ball well, but nothing like you saw sophomore year. You want to believe what you're watching on tape. There's not a lot of tape on him, but that's a guy I think is a sleeper in this draft because of what you just said, Bill. There's just not a lot of in-game tape on him, but you can watch him shoot in an empty gym, and even I can do that.
I don't know. Can he, Wally?
Maybe not. Maybe not.
He's got 8-foot range. He's got a nice little soft lefty touch.
As long as I can edit the tape, it'll look good.
But it's going to be interesting, Wally. Do you think teams now will hit more than they have in years past because of the difference in the evaluation? Or is this really, when all is said and done, a very random process?
I think it's just a very random process. I think we were able to see enough game footage. The season was cut short right before the NCAA tournament, so we were already into conference tournament play. So you were able to get a good feel as to kind of what players were capable of doing. But we've seen it with the NBA for the last 10 years, whatever. It's just all about the young potential guys. And, NBA takes a lot of risks. A lot of teams take a lot of risks. They don't take the secure thing. Like a guy like Xavier Tillman, who's been at Michigan State forever. He's redshirted. He's had knee injuries. But this guy, is going to come to the NBA. He's going to play a role, and he's going to give you something. A lot of times, too many teams, they shoot for the stars, they shoot for the potential, and they end up getting not a viable NBA player, and quite frankly, getting a bust. So I think where the Knicks are right now, they just have to go with the sure thing. They need to fill a roster with young guys that they know are going to work hard and they know are going to be NBA viable type players. So we'll see if they go that direction.